Well, good evening. I'm proud to announce the era of one-party Democrat rule in Washington is over. Washington now has a check and balance. The American people have a say in their government. And this new Republican leadership team is ready to get to work to put America back on the right track. It was our commitment to America that we would create an economy that is strong, a nation that is safe, a future that is built on freedom, and a government that is accountable. And that's exactly what we'll do. I now want to bring up our conference chair, Elise Stefanik.
Thank you to our next Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. I'm honored to earn support from my colleagues to continue serving as House Republican Conference Chair. We won this majority because of our commitment to America, and we are the last line of defense in a House Republican majority to stand up for the American people. And I particularly am proud, being from the state of New York, we picked up 4 seats in New York State, flipping blue districts to red, and we will have a tremendous Republican conference in the 118th Congress. Now it's my honor to introduce a new member of the leadership team, the sophomore elected representative to the leadership table from Oklahoma, Stephanie Bice.
Thank you. In the state Senate, I served in leadership, and as I entered Congress, I wanted to continue that role. So I want to say thank you to the sophomore members of the 117th Congress who have elected me to represent them with this elected leadership position. I am excited to get to work with my Republican colleagues to push back on one-party Democrat rule and really work for the American people. It is an honor to be representing my great state of Oklahoma, but also be part of this leadership team, and I look forward to getting to work. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Lisa McClain, newly elected Secretary of the Republican Conference.
Thank you. And I am Lisa McClain from the great state of Michigan. I am excited to be on this team. We have elected some phenomenal leaders here. I think we have a big job in front of us. America is counting on us. They are counting on us with the commitment to America to move our country forward. I am just excited to be part of this team, and quite frankly, I'm excited to get to work. So thank you. With that, I want to introduce my friend, Policy Director, Mr. Gary Palmer.
Thank you. I am in agreement with my colleagues here that we've got work to do. We made a commitment to America, and we're going to keep it. We're going to work every day to bring down the cost of living, to make our country more secure, and to ensure that parents have rights in regard to their children's education. This is an opportunity for this nation to move forward, and I cannot wait for the opportunity to get to work as part of the next Republican majority in the 118th Congress. It's now my privilege to introduce the Vice President of the conference, Mike Johnson of Louisiana.
Thank you. It's my great honor to be reelected to serve another term as Vice Chairman of the House Republican Conference. I'll just tell you, the group in that auditorium is ready to get to work. We're ready to bring common sense solutions to bear to all the many crises that are facing the country right now. That's an exceptional group of people. They're patriots, and they're going to serve the people well. We look forward to that. We're delighted to serve with this exceptional team. And I'm delighted to introduce to you the new chair of the NRCC, Mr. Richard Hudson from North Carolina.
Thank you so much. I was honored to be elected unanimously by my colleagues to be chairman of the NRCC. Look, the American people have spoken. They've given us the majority. They expect us to deliver on our promises, and we're going to do that as a team. And working together, we're going to grow this majority in 2024, and I'm excited to help lead that process. And I'm even more excited to introduce our next speaker, who is our new majority whip. The gentleman, I actually made one campaign promise. I said there'll be no more hockey analogies if I'm elected chairman. And as soon as he was elected, he walked straight over to me, leaned in and said, hockey analogies are back. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Emmer.
Excited to be in the majority. It's been 4 long years. House Republicans actually performed 2 cycles in a row, and we are going to be in the majority. And as our leader, Kevin McCarthy, said so well, we will be the only check on the Biden administration in a Democrat-controlled Senate over the next 2 years. We're excited to get to work. We're excited to be back in the majority, and I now have the great privilege to turn this over to one of the greatest fighters we have in America and in the Republican Conference, the fighting tiger from Louisiana, Steve Scalise.
Thank you, Tom.
People all across America went to the polls last week to elect a Republican House majority that will fight for them. And if you look everywhere from Portland, Oregon, down to South Florida, we flipped seats from Democrat to Republican with candidates that were running on a commitment to America, on an agenda that's focused on lowering inflation, reducing energy costs, securing America's border, combating crime where we can give police the tools they need to keep our community safe and return safely to their families, getting parents more involved in their kids' education. And as the majority leader, I really look forward to bringing those bills to the floor through a committee process that's open again. We're going to make Congress work again, not only ending proxy voting where people can show up to vote, but where the committees meet in person again to debate things that are important to the hardworking families who are struggling under this Biden agenda. So it's going to be an exciting time. We're ready to go to work for those hardworking families all across the country. And the person that's going to lead the way is our next speaker, Kevin McCarthy.
We know our job will not be easy. We know the task. We've got a close majority. We're going to have to work together. And we want to work with anyone that wants to make America stronger. We want to work with anybody on both sides of the aisle if they want to make America energy independent, give their parents a say in their kids' education, or secure our borders, or stop defunding the police. We know there's challenges in this nation around the world. We're listening to the American public, but we are prepared to lead, regardless of the size of the majority. One thing I've always learned, they don't hand gavels out in small, medium, and large. You get the right size gavel, and we will use it. With that, let's open it up for questions.
Mr. Leader, do you think you will have the votes by January to become Speaker?
Yes, if you look at the last two speakers, Paul Ryan, he had at this time had 43, lost 43 votes. Nancy Pelosi had 32 votes, and no one was running against her at that time. Look, we have our work cut out for us. We've got to have a small majority. We've got to listen to everybody in our conference. And if you've watched what we have done, I thought it was very productive last night in our rules debate. And what I've proposed to do is handle half of the rules tomorrow, keep those open through Thanksgiving, and we'll work together and we'll get there. The American people expect us to do it. They expect us to govern. They expect us to keep our word on the commitment to America. And one thing I'll say about the entire conference, I respect each and every one, but I respect them equally, and we'll find a way to make it happen.
The Freedom Caucus has made a lot of demands, including to give themselves more power, more leverage over you, including to vacate the chair, giving them more power to vacate the chair. Are you open to that proposal from the Freedom Caucus?
One thing I think, when the conference is this tight, I think we all work together. At the same time, nobody's going to have more power than anybody else. A majority like this, 4 people could decide the future, whatever it goes. So either we're going to lead as a team or we're going to lose as individuals. And I think at the end of the day, we will lead as a team.
Okay, first of all, as far as the vacating the chair, that's one thing. But what about all those other demands in that letter? Why haven't you responded to it? And why is it that you essentially blew off that entire letter completely? Will you respond to it?
Well, I don't agree with your comment there. They provided a letter in the different rules. The time we take up the rules now, I've met with them numerous times. We actually changed the process, where last night we just had a conference just to talk about amendments. Tomorrow we'll bring up half of them, talk about them, and I can't do anything by myself. It's the conference who decides what the conference rules are. And the interesting thing about the conference, everyone's going to have to give a little on both sides. But the number one thing I'm going to do as a leader is I'm going to listen to all voices in the conference, and we're going to do together what is best. The one thing you'll learn is, as my opportunity to be Speaker, is the House is going to change. No longer is all the power going to rest the way Nancy had it. No more proxy voting. Bills will actually go through committees. They will be debated before they come to the floor, and people will actually have a say. Why? Because you, the American public, have lent your voice to every single member, and you have a right for your voice to be heard, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Leader McCarthy.
Yes, ma'am.
As we try to get to 218, do you want Democrats to try to support you?
No, we're the majority as Republicans, and we'll get there as
You wouldn't
Republicans. Yes.
There's been a lot of talk about what kind of leader you will be, and you're saying that we win together, we lose alone. But as a leader looking at this conference, it looks very fractured right now. How do you plan to bridge that gap to be a leader for all of them?
Looks like a majority to me. In 4 years, all we've done is win. It's been one-party rule in Washington. We now have inflation at a 41-year high. We got gas prices, and now we're going into winter heating prices that people, American public, can't afford. We got a border that's unsecure and a secretary who says it is. We got people defunding the police, and now we don't even know if we're safe on our own streets. People are afraid to ride the subway again. We got a Department of Justice that goes after parents simply because they go to a school board meeting. They call them terrorists. We got a government that hasn't been held accountable. Tell me one time they had a hearing on the origins of COVID. Tell me one time they had a hearing to know what went wrong in the last 60 days of Afghanistan that brought us 13 Gold Star families. Tell me one time they talked to the DOJ on why he went after parents. That all changes today because there's no longer one-party rule. The American public now has a voice. The American public now has a right to things that are going to be said, and that's why we're going to do it together.
Your agenda, the commitment to America, will be able to bridge that gap between all of your members?
No, I know it will.
Why didn't the red wave materialize? You guys expected a much bigger majority. You're going to have a razor-thin majority. What actually went wrong last fall?
Well, to take your question, when you're sitting in the majority and you win, I don't know that it went wrong. Did we want something much bigger? Yeah, we did. But if I look at the last two cycles, I've only been leader through two cycles. When I came in, we had less than 200. Last time, everybody predicted it was going to be a blue wave. Yes, we lost the presidency and we lost the Senate. But it was the first time since 1994 not one Republican incumbent lost, and we beat 14 of them. So they were all wrong on that perspective. In this cycle, history says that it would go even further. But if you look, the Republican proportion of vote compared to the Democrat is a higher percentage than it was in 2010. We gained a lot already before where we started. But there's about 25 races out there that we lost by less than 5% of the vote. It was tough. There are times that if we had some top of the ticket, some governor races, some Senate races that played a little better, I think we would have carried through. But it also is a time that we should reflect that do we have the right candidate? Do we have the right message? We won, but we could have won bigger, and we will continue to work harder. I'll make one promise to the American public. I will always listen to you, and no one will ever outwork us.
What's your expectation?
Oh, you already asked one.
Congressman Henry Cuellar said today that he received calls from several of your allies, including lobbyists, a current member, a former member of Congress. Has there been outreach to any other Democrats to try to get them to switch parties? And would you solicit Democratic?
I don't know who he's referring to, and I have not spoken to anybody. So all I've talked to are Republicans. I am the Republican leader. I'll be a speaker for America, but I'll get elected by Republicans.
Leader McCarthy, what's
Yes,
your
sir.
expectation for the lame duck as it relates to spending bills, as it relates to Ukraine aid, debt ceiling, any of those issues that are?
Well, I've watched what the Democrats have done in many of these, especially in the NDAA, the wokeism that they want to bring in there. I actually believe the NDAA should hold up until the first of the year, and let's get it right. We watched what happened today in Poland. We've watched what's happening where the president sits down with President Xi. He didn't bring up one question when it came to fentanyl. That is the #1 killer of Americans between the ages of 18 and 45. 300 Americans are going to die today. 300 more will die tomorrow, be poisoned, because this is coming from China across our border. But President Biden didn't feel it was an opportune time to bring it up to President Xi. He feels as though that climate is the most important issue. I think there are many more important issues, and I think we should get the NDAA right before we move it.
Last question, Leader McCarthy.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
They don't let you in the front row, huh? Soon.
It's a little late.
Okay.
Crowded.
Over the last two cycles, you guys have added black members of Congress to your conference. You've added
Women.
Hispanic members. Why are we not seeing that diversity reflected in your current leadership?
Whoa, you're judging when you see the diversity here?
I know most of you,
Listen.
but I'm just wondering why
Listen.
are
Iranian
more
American
people
ever elected to Congress
why,
right here.
why are
Yeah.
more people not running for leadership, from those diverse?
Have you ever served in leadership? It might not be things people want to run for. But look, I'm very proud of what we're looking at today. I mean, you just look across this country, Laura Chavez-DeRemer in Oregon. Not only is it a really impossible seat to win, but look at what she's able to accomplish. Juan Ciscomani. Juan Ciscomani is like the American dream. He immigrated to America when he was 11 years old. His father still drives the city bus in Tucson, Arizona. He married his bride, who was a first-generation American. She was one of the first in her family to go to college. She got an academic scholarship to Stanford. They have 6 children.